Jacob kept watching Sophie play her video game as he lay on his makeshift bed. There was pin-drop silence in the room, and you could cut the tension in the air with a knife. Even in pajamas, she's looking so pretty, Jacob thought with a fond smile. Sophie felt a little conscious of herself as she could feel Jacob's eyes on her. She couldn't concentrate on the game at all and lost 2 matches back to back. "Can you stop staring at me?" Sophie turned around in frustration. Jacob was dumbfounded for a moment as he was caught red-handed. His first instinct was to deny the allegation. "I wasn't staring at you," he said. Sophie gave him an "oh really" look and said, "Whatever, just stop." Jacob was incredibly embarrassed about being caught and wanted to turn things around, so he decided to tease Sophie a little and said, "Why? Am I distracting you?" Now it was Sophie's turn to be embarrassed. She didn't have an answer, so she stood up and charged at Jacob with the pillow she had in her lap. "You!" She hit him in the face. Jacob was surprised by the sudden attack and took a moment to respond. He sat up from his lying position immediately and shouted, "Oh, you shouldn't have!" Before Sophie could run to save herself, he grabbed her foot and yanked at her, making her fall on his mattress. He held his hand out to make sure that she didn't get hurt. Before she could react, he picked up the pillow he was using under his head and hit her with it repeatedly. As soon as Sophie recovered from the fall, she returned Jacob's attacks with equal fervor. "Stop hitting me, you idiot!" Sophie shouted breathlessly. "You started this. You stop first," Jacob retorted back. The pillow fight went on for a while, as they both kept on shouting and hitting each other with the soft pillows, till they were both rolling around on the floor and the pillows had nothing but cloth left on them. On the other hand, Helen, who was working in her studio, got worried when she heard her daughter and future son-in-law shouting at each other in the middle of the night. She ran downstairs to find out what the matter was and wondered if it was a mistake to make them share a room. As she came closer to Sophie's room, the voices got clearer, and from her advanced dragon hearing, she could also pick up on the sound of pillows being thrashed. Before even opening the door, she pieced together what was going on inside and stopped in her tracks. She listened for a minute more and hit her forehead in disbelief. She chuckled at the situation. She was planning a wedding for those two, and here they were, acting like 5-year-olds. She then sighed in relief that they were not fighting, at least, and walked back slowly to the attic. Back in the room, Sophie and Jacob kept up with their childish pillow fight till all the feathers from their pillows were flying all around the room. Some of them even clung to their clothes and hair. When Jacob noticed that his weapon had given up, he laid down on the floor where he was, not bothering to move his bed. Sophie also stopped her attacks when Jacob stopped and laid down beside him. Both of them were completely out of breath, and Sophie's previously pristine room was now a complete mess. They knew that they were going to get a good earful of it the next morning. But right then, at that moment, they didn't care. They just lay there, side by side, looking up at the ceiling, trying to catch their breath. After being in complete silence for a few minutes, Sophie was the one to break it by suddenly giggling. Jacob looked at her for a short moment, and he started laughing too. They both burst into full-blown laughter as they realized what they had just done. They had acted completely childish and had just ruined Sophie's whole room. Feathers would be found from every nook and corner of the room for weeks. "I can't even remember why we started hitting each other in the first place," Jacob said as he laughed. Sophie was about to answer him, but then she remembered that she had hit him first. So, to avoid the topic, she said, "Yeah, me neither." "Your mom is going to be so mad at us," Jacob said again. "I know. I'll totally blame you for everything. She loves you and won't say anything," Sophie teased. "Hey, you started it." Jacob hit her arm lightly. "But you converted it into a fight. I just hit you once," Sophie argued, hitting him back. Okay, I think we should stop now, or else we'll have another fight on our hands, Jacob said, seeing that they were going down the same road again. Sophie laughed lightly and didn't say anything. All this while, they were still laying on the cold floor of Sophie's room, staring up at the ceiling. Silence engulfed them once again, but a comfortable one this time. Neither of them seemed in any hurry to get up and go to sleep. They were both content just lying there. Jacob turned to look at Sophie, who was lost in her thoughts and had a smile on her face. He called her lightly. "Hey, Soph?" This broke Sophie's train of thoughts and made her turn towards Jacob, who was looking at her with sincere eyes. She answered in the same tone, "Yes? I know my parents already thanked your family for what you did for Grandma, but I never thanked you. She is the most important person in my life, and you took such great care of her when I couldn't. You were there for me the whole time, in the hospital and even after. Thank you so much for everything, Sophie." He spoke softly and honestly. Sophie was speechless at Jacob's warm words. When it came to emotions, Sophie was more like her father than her mother. She wasn't great at expressing herself, so she often resorted to anger as a defense mechanism. But because Jacob was talking so openly to her, she didn't have the heart to interrupt his gratitude with reluctance or defiance. So she replied with a smile, "I'm glad that Mom asked Grandma to come and live with us. I've never been around elderly people much. Having her here really made me feel that she was my own grandmother. I loved listening to her stories." Then she added, with a teasing smile, "Especially the embarrassing ones from your childhood." Jacob chuckled at her little joke and said, "She really loves you as well. Yesterday, the whole car ride back home, she kept going on and on about how great you were. Whenever you feel like seeing her, just tell me, and I'll take you to our home. I'm sure she would love to meet you again." Sophie nodded at his offer with a smile and didn't say anything else. She got lost in her thoughts again, thinking about their family lunch the previous day, and remembering all the talk about Jacob's girlfriend. She had been insecure about Kathy ever since she met her, and if Jacob really liked Kathy, she didn't want to get in their way. Jacob frowned when he saw that the expression on Sophie's face had dimmed, but he didn't ask her about it and waited for her to talk to him about her concerns on her own. After a few minutes of contemplation, Sophie finally brought it up. Do you like that girl from your class?" "Kathy?" he asked, and Sophie nodded in confirmation. Jacob sighed at the question, but knew that this conversation was necessary. He sat up and looked directly at Sophie, who was looking away. "I promise that she is not my girlfriend. She just dragged me along to the lecture because she thought it would make me respect scientists more. She didn't know that they were my parents." Sophie also sat up and nodded at his explanation. She could tell that he wasn't lying, and decided to let the matter go. Though Jacob wasn't done yet, he remembered his conversation with his father the other night. He took Sophie's hand in his and told her, "Sophie, there is still a lot of time before our wedding. We have about 5 years. That is a lot of time, and neither of us knows what will happen or what circumstances we will be in. But I promise you that when it is time, no matter what, I will give you your dragon core." Sophie smiled brightly at his sincere promise and squeezed his hand to show that she believed him. Her eyes then fell on the clock on the wall right behind Jacob and saw that it was 3:30 a.m. "Oh no, I didn't realize that it was so late. I have to get up early for school tomorrow. We should sleep," Sophie said, and stood up in a hurry. Jacob checked the time too and agreed with her. They had gotten so lost in their conversation that they didn't realize how late it was. Both of them went to their respective beds and laid down after wishing each other good night. The tension from before had disappeared, and both of them fell asleep almost as soon as their heads hit the bed.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.